Welcome to the Smart Factory.
Thank you very much for attending our Smart Factory event here. I tell you that I don't know if how much you have seen from INKISH News, but Yves and Jacques has been very productive, and we have only seen half so far, right, Yves?
Yes.
So how is it difficult for you to write all these articles, or how is it for you? Is it are you just doing like this and then it comes out of the sleeves?
Yeah. Hopefully, I work on the subject during my doctorate for my thesis. So I extract several contents and materials in order to explain this concept. I hope that you appreciate this information. It was a very, very amazing and interesting subject. Yes, and very delighted to share with you this new opportunity for the printer to improve their process and, of course, the business model.
Yeah, and I would say that before we now just start with the webinar, which now the time is 10, so we just wait for Jacques to get back here. I think that we have an audience, friends I can see, so that's great, and co-workers. So it seems that we are at least educating our own staff, which is not too bad either, right? But to answer your question, I really appreciate your articles. I think that your knowledge, I mean, because you work also as a consultant in France, right? So you also have hands-on knowledge from how printers operate, right?
Right. Yeah. I work. I have two caskets. One is I work for a printing company of a great French administration. I also am consultant, and I work with a French printer in order to find with them their new business models and to talk about their digital transformation, digital and industrial transformations. That for me is really important. Sometimes we forget this even word. We talk a lot about digital transformation, but if we forget the impact of their industrial process, that today is the opportunity to meld together these two words thanks to this concept 4.0 that we'll discuss together. Hi, Jacques.
Don't say hijack. That could be taken in a wrong way. Hijacking, right? So why don't we get started? Because we have actually hey, Jacques, welcome.
Thank you.
For the people that are attending right now, when you do events like this, there's a couple of reasons to do it live. Is because we can do it instantly, but the replays are the most important thing because that can educate everybody when they have time for it. And before we start with the presentations and what this program is all about, I would like to introduce some very friends of mine in the center of the screen. No, to the left on the screen we have Yves, who is my partner or our partner of INKISH France. You have a deep background in a lot of things in the printing industry, and for those who have read your articles this week, I'm sure they will know about that. And you have already made excellent over the Skype interviews, and though they are in French, they have English subtitles, and you can really learn a lot from these. So this is not just about learn from us in this session, but also from the beautiful content that you're creating. And then also Jacques, who is from INKISH Benelux. Jacques, you also have a background as a consultant, right?
Yeah.
And you also have an extremely good reach in your audience, and I have really appreciated getting to know you, because the funny thing for those who looks into this little program, we are partners, and I think we know each other pretty well, but it's only Yves and Jacques that have actually met each other. So this is also an opportunity to see how we can work together in new ways. And Yves, you are in Paris. Jacques, where are you located?
Well, I'm actually located in Tongeren, and it's, let's say, an hour's drive from Brussels, 20 minutes from Liège, and like 20 minutes from Maastricht as well, so on the three country point.
So I take that as a European, you would say that you're in the center of the universe, right?
Absolutely, Morten.
Absolutely. That's great. Well, I can see that one of you guys have already clicked on the presentation that we have prepared for today. So welcome everybody. It's wonderful to see all of you. The way that we have decided to start the first session here is basically to give you a little overview of what to expect from the next days. Just a little practicality in this case is that you have to register for all the sessions individually, and that is because when we did this kind of event with Deborah Korn a couple of weeks ago, we experienced a little flaw in our system that doesn't enable the system to give you right links if you were signing up for more sessions in one go. So we have done it this way and hope that everybody understands this. So let's dig into it. We are having a session that we call the Smart Factory. Smart Factory is also a kind of wording for Industry 4.0. Something that most people maybe not think so much about, because these industrial revolutions, they come and go over time, as you will also experience through these things. Currently we are in Industry 3.0 that came with the internet, came with all the things that we have. We're just adapting these kind of things. And also the Industry 4.0 will also be something that we will adapt eventually as the technology grows. But how can we as printers understand the advantages of these technologies, and how can we navigate in a technology that becomes, I wouldn't say maybe more complex, but I would say for sure something that will give you new ways of integrating your systems into what you're doing. So just so you know about that. I have already introduced my partners in crime. Really good guys, and I really enjoy working with them, and I'm sure that you will also during these the next couple of days get a very good understanding on why I appreciate them both as human beings, but also as partners for INKISH. I think that what we are trying to achieve with INKISH is basically delivering a high level of knowledge to an audience that we hopefully believe can get a lot of information and be wiser, basically, right? So what is it we're going to do this thing here? Yeah, we have today we have the presentation of Learn with Our Smart Factory program. That is what I'm doing right now. Then Yves and Jacques will also talk a little bit about what is Industry 4.0 and the Smart Factory. Yves will bring you through impacts of Industry 4.0 and the printing value and supply chain. And we will talk about the advantages of the Smart Factory for printers. This is thing you can read directly on the screen, so that should not be a big surprise for you. So the first thing is, I think we have, is it Jacques that it'll be take this one?
Yeah, maybe Morten, it's nice maybe if you explain a little bit about the program. So
yes, of course. Sorry, yeah.
Who is also presenting? Then
yeah,
people
sure.
know a bit.
Yeah. As you can see, we have a quite dense program for the next 5 days. Basically, we are at the first session here, and then afterwards we have I have a conversation with a woman from a South African printing company, Kayleen Lloyd. She has, with her company, just been through implementation of a digital strategy, and it is not as easy as it may sound. So we would like to talk to Kayleen about some of these really interesting subjects. So that is the next session after this one. It's 11 a.m. CST time. And then we have what we find really interesting. We have some breakout sessions. The breakout sessions is, in our opinion, great because we are 3 different countries, 3 different cultures, 3 different languages at least. So Yves will take the French, Jacques will take the Dutch, and I will take care of the English versions. We don't have the breakout sessions for all days, and some sessions are only in French and some are only in English, but you will get the idea that you have the opportunity to talk more in details, and there's also a very interesting program, but that will be presented a little bit later. Then we get back for the last session today, because we wanted to have one more session at the end of the day, but we didn't have time to get it done probably. But the last session we have today is with Luc Peters from a printing company in the Netherlands, who have invested in new technology to keep being an industry leader within book production. It was very interesting thing. So you look forward to that as well. During the week, we have tried to make a program that covers most of the aspects of the smart factory. Tomorrow we have a focus on software. So I have a session tomorrow morning about APIs and web to print. Then we have Douglas Gibson from INKISH software in the UK talking about how web to print solutions influences the smart factory. Then we have again the breakout sessions, and then we have 2 sessions with HP. And the great thing about these 2 sessions they have invited customers to participate. So we have Ulrich Schetzel, we have Simon Smogor, we have Jon, I can't remember his surname right now, sorry, but 3 really interesting printing companies who are using HP technology to be a smart factory. I am sure you will like that a lot. Then we have Wednesday, we have hardware. We have Yasuo Tagetsu from Horizon in Japan. He will take a very late session in Japan to participate here. And I can tell you, I saw his presentation a couple days ago to test it. Really interesting how Horizon is taking the boundaries deep into the heart of the smart factory. I'm sure you will like that. And then we continue with Henrik Christiansen, who is one of the most recognized persons in robot technologies in printing industry. So he will give you an insight how automated we can expect robots to be participating in this kind of thing. And we also continue a little bit with the IoT devices after the breakout sessions. And then we have, which I also look very much forward to, because we have Steve Metcalf from Baldwin giving us a session live also from the US. So where Japan took a very late session, Steve is taking a very early session. And this session is quite interesting because most people understand that Baldwin is maybe mostly known for being a company with inspection systems, with UV light systems, with consumables. But they have developed a very, very interesting platform called AMP, which is a platform that will connect all the devices and machines and IoT devices that you have in your factories to make them smarter and to make your business smarter. Really interesting, in my opinion. Thursday, we talk about the digital mindset, because one thing is the hardware and the software and what this is all about, but we also want to give you an idea about some of the things that you have to think about in this perspective. And then we continue with Jacob Hededam-Hummel and Anthony Thirlby, well-known people, especially within the Heidelberg community, and they will tell you the customer journey. How does the digital mindset influence the printing company and these kind of things? Again, breakout sessions in different languages. And then we have, I look very much forward to that, Geert van Dam and Peter Doont from CERM. CERM is a management buyout from Heidelberg just a few months ago, creating MIS systems specifically for new modern things. So this is also really cool. Looking forward to that. And then we have one of my favorite persons when it comes to this kind of things, Diego Diaz from ProPrint. He used to be with the Bernard Group in Chanhassen in the US. He is maybe one of the most experienced when it comes to hands-on implementation of the smart factory. So really cool. And then Friday, we are trying to round up everything. So it's more how the business things are developing, and really cool as well. And now, Jacques, if I'm not going to take all the time from you, I just will stop here. Is that okay with you now?
Yeah, great, Morten. But it's always nice to listen to you. But it's, as you say, it's a full program. So just a little
Definitely.
correction on today's afternoon. No, it's not a problem at all. So it's with Peters, but they're not in Holland. They're in Belgium. So, but anyway, it's in the Benelux area. So, all right.
Too bad that I didn't. I thought he was speaking, but it's because you speak two languages in the Belgium,
Yeah,
right?
but
Yeah, okay.
it'll be in English. It'll be in English anyway. So
Okay, that's
that will
great.
be an interesting session.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Morten, for
Yeah.
the introduction to the program. And
Yeah.
without any further ado, so maybe we take it from here. A few words on the Industry 4.0. That, of course, is the reason why we're here. Here on the first slide, nothing special. It's just the Industry 1, 2, 3 up to Industry 4.0. As everyone knows, mainly it came from Germany. Then it was also taken over, like in France with l'Industrie du futur. Belgium made different. In Holland, they call it smart industry, and so on. Catapult, and in the UK. So a lot of countries, they all saw the interest on the Industry 4.0 and the fact that we have to move on and to step up. So the three other industrial revolution, sorry, the 3.0 is still in a lot of factories going on at the moment, because that's mainly what is the big difference between 3.0 and 4.0, is that in the 3.0, we're mainly looking at a standalone factory where everything is trying to get the most efficient as possible, but still, let's say that they're a bit more isolated locally in their own printing shops, printing plants. While Industry 4.0 is really looking to open up the world of networking, working together with a lot of vendors, but we'll get a bit more into the detail in a moment. So that brings me straight to the building blocks of 4.0. So on the top, you see probably the most important element in this chart, which in the building blocks is the cyber physical systems. We'll come to that in a moment. Then if we go around the circle, I'm not going to pronounce them all. Cloud computing, of course, everyone knows that it's really coming on heavily. IoT, industrial, well, it's IoT, industrial Internet of Things, the big data, which is, of course, very important. Maybe a little bit on the first one, the top one, the cyber physical systems. Well, in this chart, we have 10 building blocks. Initially, in the chart from Roosman, there were 9. We added, if you can see it on the bottom, artificial intelligence, or AI, which already is in our industry, but which is becoming more and more important, and will probably one of the key factors in the future. So the artificial intelligence is there to take over manual and let's say human interaction through artificial computing. So the cyber physical systems, it's actually, you have to think about sensors, you have to think about, let's say, processes that will be analyzed. And first of all, of course, because of all of the machines and elements in the graphic chains in the print shop, they will have more and more sensors or microchips or some sort of detecting devices. We all know, for example, like in printing presses from Heidelberg or Koenig & Bauer or others, they have huge amounts of sensors of all types. But the big difference now with Industry 4.0 and 3.0 is that all these sensors are going to collect data. All this data will then be sent up to the, and I'm referring to point to the cloud, where all this data will be analyzed, processed, and then it's also so redirected, I would say, to different systems, not only the system within your own company, which is what I call the standalone factory, but it's actually distributed and sent to partners. That can be a vast array of a lot of partners that become more and more important in our daily work. And of course, all these different partners will have a lot of let's say impact on your own company. So everything will get networked. We'll have data that will be sent to different partners outside of our company, outside of our premises. So, and with the all networking and all the working together and all the different participants in that network that you allow in your company and to work with, all this together will be a Print 4.0 and will give us big strength to get more efficiency, speed up the processes, and so on. So I'm not going to go more in detail here on the building blocks. So that brings me to the next chart. And there's a lot on this chart, so we're not going to try to explain everything here. We'll do that a little bit later on when we come back to this slide. But if you look at this slide, take a good look at it and go from the left to the middle to the right. So on the left, you can see there is the suppliers. It's very important, and we'll speak about it also during the session, also with Yves and Morten. So on the supplier side, there's big changes. You know, we will have to trust. We will have to get alliances with our suppliers, which extend far more than the relationship that we have now with suppliers, because they will become also like a key factor in the whole chain, you know, the whole chain of value creation. And they will be a very important part of our network. So the suppliers on the left, in the middle, we have our own shop. You know, here we have like print shop A, print shop B. What we see there is, of course, our production facility. But as I said, we have the cyber physical systems with sensors on the top left in the middle chart. They collect all kinds of data, and then they send all of this information up to the cloud. In that cloud, that can be, in the case of the printing presses, of course, all the data collected in production by machines, computers, etc., that are all interconnected within our production facility. We send it up to the cloud. There is big data going on, and you see we are going to communicate this data with our partners, with our machine vendors, and they're going to send reports and stuff and everything back. So that's new, actually, that there is going to be more interaction. Then, of course, in our facilities, we will have nanotechnologies, we will have robotics. We'll be talking that also later on this week, as Morten explained. And then also, for example, in logistics and deliveries, we'll have autonomous vehicles, etc. And all of these systems talk with each other through integrated networks. And it's actually this new type of communication connection that makes the 4.0 ecosystem. And then on the right-hand side, of course, we have the customer with the Internet of Things. And of course, one of the big differences now in the print 4.0 is that we'll have mass customization. So the clients from their end, they will need and they will ask for more personalized items. They want it now, right now, the way they want it, and delivered the way they want it. So this is a bit on this slide, but we'll get to it maybe a little later. So on the impacts of the printing industry and the closer integration, I invite Yves maybe to give a little word on this.
Thank you very much, Jacques, to give us an overview of the building blocks of the print industry 4.0. With Industry 4.0, value chain or smart print shop will be interconnected and will involve horizontal integration through a network and sensors. This integration will aim at optimizing the value chain of this company in printing and product manufacturing by connecting all or part of the graphic chains beyond the frontier of the printing company, whether, for example, of ink suppliers that you see at the left, for example, ink supplier or high-tech partner, but also on the right, the warehouse and customers. In comparison, Industry 3.0 has been the phase of vertical integration with the first GDF workflow implementation based on two data format, job definition format GDF and job messaging format GMF. The goal of this integration has been to automate process steps through the integration of different systems and applications. However, in the world 3.0, press and other automated devices do not yet communicate perfectly with each other. GDF, GMF implementation are not globally representing the production process, at least for the time being, excuse me. In the world 4.0, machine will talk to each other, make it easy to reconfigure the production process according to customer demand. In the new graphic chain, every device and peripheral will be able to exchange data at different levels. Now, this summary illustration illustrates well the question that the pre-press and or press room can have when they don't have access to information to handle common problems. Questions such as, I don't know the maintenance schedule, job progress status is unclear, so we can't respond to inquiry. How can we raise the operating ratio? Input error occur even though it's the same information. You ask yourselves these questions very often, I'm sure, don't you? Comrade give example of the benefits of closer system integration into their CAPI Connect solutions. For example, operating status available anytime and anywhere, operators daily report and managers daily analysis created automatically. Schedule can be optimized in jobs on each press are visible and so on. Now, regarding the impact of Industry 1.0 on the printing value chain. In the day of Industry 3.0, the internet is mainly impacting printing company on how to sell their printing product with a web to print platform, allowing greater customer involvement, in particular in terms of co-creation. The use of the internet to automate order entry and save time for both customer and the company. With 4.0 is transforming all links in the value chains, as we can see on this slide. In the day of Industry 4.0, it may be the production activities, printing and finishing, but also an overall logistics and more broadly the supply chain with cyber-physical systems that will be disrupted. Computer automation and even robotization with automatic make-ready already existed in printing plants in the day of Industry 3.0, but the possibility offered in particular by the Internet of Things, the IoT, are revolutionizing their use. Industry 4.0, with implementation of cyber-physical system, will promote in this printing and finishing shops a self-regulated production, more precise and agile planning. By making printer much more flexible at all levels, it would be possible to take advantages of the ability to print by the unit or in very small quantity. But you discover that each activity, primary or support activity, is impacted, even the marketing and sales department with business intelligence and here blockchain and smart services, thanks always with data analysis and artificial intelligence. This slide, the purpose of this slide is to show an acceleration of the supply chain. In the day of Industry 4.0, the different players in the supply chain are increasingly interconnected. Printing company and their customer are focused on improving the total performance of the supply chain so they can offer better value to customers. The greatest impact on the structure of the graphic chain can be expected from the smart logistic and smart factory concept. It's mainly thanks to RFID and NIDC technology. The supply chain will be able to be further digitized and benefit from the information collected in real time, the current state and logistics activity. That the reason at the bottom of this slide, we start to focus on Internet of Things, RFID, all the product become smart of collect information, and this opportunity offers that ability to discover and to promote a smart production process. It's really important that the supply chain, thanks to this technology, will be able to further digitize and benefit from the information collected in real time, the current state of logistic activity. For example, the delivery truck for specific product, for example, can be optimized, and the delivery information of the product transport can be modified in real time and whenever necessary. I think this slide is one of the most interesting. What's really important that individual company, including printing company, are no longer competing as standalone entities, but rather as supply chains. They are now entering their era in the day of the network competition, where awards will be given to organizations that can better structure and coordinate manage relationship with their partner. Through its value chain, this new value chain 4.0, the graphic chain puts customer at the center by assessing its personalized or even individualized needs and organize its supply chain to modify its process accordingly. Printers and other manufacturing company are just invited to transform themselves into integrated network, as they show in this slide, in which company from the same sector, but also from different industry, combine their core competencies and capabilities. In concrete terms, the aim is for this company to take advantage of the skills of the network partner in order to meet the market needs. Now, Jacques, about advantages of smart factory for the printer.
Yeah, Yves, thanks. Without further ado, we'll get into this a little bit on the advantages. So, as you can see, the advantages mainly focus on cost reductions, more efficiency. We can see, and of course, all of the big data that is going around in this smart factory will be data collected in real time. So that's a big difference as well. And the real-time collection of data will then give us the opportunity to communicate, as I said earlier, with all the connected chains that are part of our smart print shop. So as well vendors, as well as on the end side, the customer as well. So the reduced costs is one of the main advantages, but as well in Industry 4.0 and with smart print manufacturing, the product itself will become smarter, will have the ability as well, the end product will have the ability to communicate within the production chain for one, and probably afterwards also in the value chain. Let me make myself a bit more clear. Let's think, for example, like a printed label on a bottle of wine, for example, that already exists, but it's a good example. Like when it's to drinking temperature, for example, the label changes and you can see that the wine is at drinking temperature, for example. It's a small example. You can go way further of integrating, for example, also smart technology within the end product. For example, in libraries, we already see that we have small sensors that are being added to books just to have like an automated inventory, for example. So that's all different types of new technologies that will come in to revolutionize the production itself, but also the products that will along the chain will be able to communicate with the production facility, and afterwards, when it's at the client or in the hands of the client, will still be able to communicate in some sort to give us feedback on certain things that the client is doing with it or wants to do with it, or keep in contact with or the printer or the vendor's organization. So it's actually a fact that it will be a smart and connected product, which is at the heart of the change mainly of this 4.0 industry revolution, I would say. And it's, of course, the invaluable source of data that is going around within the connected network systems. So, and to get a bit further on this, as I said, I was coming back to this quite busy slide. So actually it's the data, which we see, the big data in the middle top of this slide, of our ecosystem, the big data. That's actually the new raw material of the smart print shop. Before that was ink and paper. Now it's of course still important because it's part of the product, but it's actually the big data which will be the raw material of the biggest importance. So this, what I was also referring to earlier on, is that the role of the suppliers within our smart factory and the role they play Before, maybe they were just like a supplier, or just, I can't say just, but they were a supplier. They sold the machine, the technology, and then we had still a couple of contacts with them, for example, when there had to be maintenance or stuff, and then we saw them maybe 2 times or 3 times a year. Now this relationship will get way more importance. Of course, the vendors from their sides, they have already evolved to this new type of thinking and relation with the smart shop owners, as they will become like a big important part of the company itself, because as data will transfer from the company to the cloud, where, for example, those partners, vendors, they will collect this data, they will be able to manipulate it, send out reports, and through the new technologies with sensors, there are about 3,000-4,000 sensors in the press, they view more value, they will add value to the production process that will be more automated, and where there will be predictive actions taken. So not only in the production environments, because there will be like contact between all the different machines, and at the end, it's the client who will be in the center of all this new evolution, because it's always the client who is central, and it's the client who will ask to get better, quicker time to market with their products. And of course, as we said, one of the main areas where 4.0 differentiates from the 3.0, it's the ability of mass personalization for the customer, but at a cost or at a low price that you could have like with a mass production, and now we will have mass customization. So that's mainly the big difference with 4.0 in the networked complete ecosystem. So that's one of the main things. And of course, the resources of the future are very important as well. So they will also be very sustainability will be high up in the priority of those companies as well. So maybe on this note, just some other advantages in this case of a Heidelberg organization. I'm not going to read them out loud all, but you can see that on the left-hand side, it's the networked environment. And of course, they want a lot of reduction of touch points, so less errors if you have less touch points. Paper waste, warehousing reduced. So that's what I just said, that the environment will be a high-end, high up the list of important things also in a smart factory. And of course, consistency, and it will, of course, all be important to create efficiency on all levels. And in the 4.0, it's actually the goal to get that efficiency on all different levels of the partnerships that we have, from the entrance to the production, to the client, to the vendor, and all this, so networked as a whole. Then maybe I would propose maybe Yves, you take a little word on the long tail theory, so because that also gives a good explanation on where the new technologies from, for example, digital printing and print on demand and so forth is actually very important in this theory where that we call the long tail theory. So maybe Yves, if you can maybe shed some light on this.
Just a second,
yeah,
guys.
Sure.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I just have a few questions, 2 questions for you, Jacques. In relation to the previous slide, I will just go back to the second previous, this one, right? One of the questions I have is I think that some printing companies would think of where do you see JDF and XJDF in all this smart factory thing. And a second thing is IoT something, and the smart factory, is that something that will take as long time to implement as we have seen with JDF and XJDF. So if you can briefly talk about this, I would appreciate your answer on this.
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and it's a difficult question to answer because nowadays a lot of the companies still are in the GDF, GMF formats because of their actual production machines they have on the production floor in their facilities. So, but as you say, the evolution to the connectivities will probably, but will also address this interesting question amongst others with CERN and with you as well. So the new technologies enabling the machines to implement and to get more efficient, to be able to communicate with the other new systems for the smart print shop 4.0 will probably lay somewhere in new developments of APIs, for example. That's something that you will discuss tomorrow. But it's very interesting, and we will be talking it with CERN as well as integrators of CMR systems. That of course with GDF we are limited, you know, and mainly JDF was supposed to be like a general language for all to enjoy. But in the end, we see that it's still a lot of custom-made solutions, and the idea was good, but to implement everything to speak in one language has proven not to work. So in that case, we hope that with APIs and a bit further on, hopefully when everyone has, let's say, the newer interface or the new machines, that we will be able to communicate better, like with a general language. Is it API or is it JDF plus or version 2? We don't know, but it will be necessary. And in the meantime, to be able to do this, so the companies like Heidelberg, all the others, they are teaming up. They are teaming up with some other specialists as well, in order to be able just to create these links to get this smart communication between all the different elements in the value chain working. So, but it's still it's
perfect.
Still
yeah, it's just because we have to move on so Yves can talk, because I asked the questions, but I'm actually more interested in the long tail. So Jacques, thank you very much for now.
All right, no
and
problem.
let's move on to Yves,
let's
so
do the
we
long
can
tail.
talk about the long. Yes, thank you very much.
All right, Yves, you can take it if you want to on the theory.
Yeah. Turn on your microphone, Yves.
Okay, excuse me. Yes, it's very good questions, Morten, regarding GDF and GMF, and the complementarity tomorrow with IoT in order that machines speak together. But thank you. Regarding in order to introduce the new industrial strategy, I think the long tail theory is a way to understand. So for us, the first industrial revolutions aims to respond to the new behavior of customers, and the concept of long tail introduced in October 2004 by Chris and Destin, which aim to offer large number of products, of niche products through the long tail. In case of publishing, for example, publisher have realized, can now monetize title often dedicated to niche markets at the end of the long tail, for which until a few years ago it was unimaginable to want to print due to such low demand. Thanks to web technology and digital printing, with no stock and no inventory, this on-demand or single books are printed, bound, and shipped in response to an order placed and paid for online. It is the volume and all the volume and all this title of this that become attractive, provided that the cost of this very small series are close to mass printing that you see on the long tail. This concept of the long tail is very often put forward in case of book market, but it's also true for magazine printing object or textile and so on. Now, this last slide make it possible to position the different strategies on this long tail, as well as the technology put forward to respond to them. With a large print run, the strategy put forward is often cost leadership. Printers in this segment are equipped with offset web press such as Timson, but also increasingly with digital web press such as the HPT 350 installed at the printing company Dupreprint, for example. And with the decrease at the middle, with the decrease in print run, printers are trying to differentiate themselves by offering numerous services: print on demand, personalization, web to print thanks to digital inkjet and Ternay presses, but also to important innovation relies on sheet-fed machine. Printing company like INKISH, Jacques Print, AGG Print in France, connected to web platform, print to the unit for niche market. Just like the famous Dell computer custom build model, when the customer orders their print product, it doesn't exist. One of the first and most beautiful examples of the use of this industrial strategy combined with the internet and the digital press was the photographic book in the graphic industry. It is only when the order is validated on a web platform that the printing process is triggered. Finally, thanks to the new press such as Espresso Book Machine or the Good Double One, it is possible to print to the unit at the point of sale. Hubert Perduran talk about the Gutenberg one later on during our French breakout session. It will be very interesting. And at the end, online printers are positioning themselves on mass customization. Mass customization is really important. Mass customization refers to the ability to deliver custom products or services with flexible process in high volume at a reasonably low cost. Normally, differentiation and cost leadership are seen as trajectory competitive strategy, but Industry 4.0 takes on the challenge of leading them simultaneously with mass customization. So mass customization then become one of the pillars of Industry 4.0 and therefore Print 4.0 and its derivative, Finishing 4.0, Packaging 4.0, emerging as a new manufacturing and management philosophy for many printing and manufacturing companies. Yes, now thank you very much, and Morten, Jacques, I hope that you appreciate our point of view, this analyze about this new concept regarding 4.0. Morten.
Yeah, yes, I appreciate Yves, but I want more. Right? I mean, this is not enough. You have to give more.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah, that's the idea of the Smart Factory Learn with Us sessions here, is that during the next this week, basically, not only content on INKISH News and also on INKISH TV, we have a playlist with interesting films about the Smart Factory, but also we have multiple sessions here during the week. So again, I want to thank you both for a very good introduction to and also insights in what is the Smart Factory and some of the elements in this. Yesterday we discussed whether the slides of this session should be given out or handed out, and we decided not to, because basically all the wisdom that you have shared with us here you find also in the articles on INKISH News. So this is an invitation to go to inkish.news to read some of the brilliant things that you have been talking about here today, right? So for now, thank you very much. And for the people attending who are interested in also joining us for the next session with Kayleen Lloyd from South Africa, I have in the chat already sent a direct link to the next webinar. If you have not signed up, you can use that. The only thing you need is basically give your name and your email address, and you can attend this session as well. And again, it will start in 7 minutes. So guys, thank you very much. And also thank you to the audience here. It was a pleasure to see you in this atmosphere as well. So thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. Maybe just on a quick note, don't forget also to go to the breakout sessions, as you mentioned, because on the same topic that we just discussed, the long tail theory, we will discuss this in the breakout session, and also in the first session that we have with Peters. It's also on this topic that we will dive into the real life, and we'll get the insights from Peters as well. So all very welcome in those sessions as well.
Great, and I think that established that that you guys are eager to give away more information from your side, right?
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Okay, thank you, and all the best. See you in the next session, right?
Yeah.